While some players have justified their high price tags and risen to greatness, others have struggled and turned out to be major disappointments. In this video, we will explore the top 20 most expensive football transfers in history. We would also explore why these players commanded such high fees, whether they lived up to expectations, and where they are now. Let's start with the lowest price on the list. Cristiano Ronaldo's €94 million transfer from Manchester United to Real Madrid in 2009 was a groundbreaking deal at the time, setting a new world record. At just 24 years old, Ronaldo had spent 6 seasons at Manchester United, going from a relatively unknown player to the best in the world. He won 3 Premier League titles, a Champions League trophy, a Ballon d'Or, and shattered numerous records during his time in England. These accomplishments convinced Real Madrid to break the bank to bring him to the Bernabeu, and he proved to be worth every cent. His arrival drew a packed stadium for his unveiling, and he didn't disappoint. During his 9-year tenure at Madrid, Ronaldo cemented his place as one of the greatest players in the club's history, winning 2 La Liga titles, 4 Champions League trophies, and 4 Ballon d'Or awards. At 33 years old, Ronaldo moved on to Juventus for an even higher fee, but we'll cover that shortly. Next up is Antony, who made a €95 million transfer that has not gone as expected. It's hard to understand why Manchester United paid such a hefty sum for the Brazilian winger. At Ajax, Antony was solid, but not a standout performer. Nevertheless, when Erik ten Hag arrived at Old Trafford, he was determined to bring Antony with him, making him the most expensive player to come out of the Eredivisie. Since arriving in England, Antony has struggled to make an impact. In his first season, he managed just 4 goals in 25 Premier League appearances. In his second season, that dropped to just 1 goal in 29 games. His dribbling success rate has dropped drastically as Premier League defenders have figured out his tricks and footwork, often leaving him predictable and ineffective. His one-footed style has also been criticized by Manchester United legend Paul Scholes, who famously dubbed him a one-trick pony. Despite these struggles, there's still hope that Antony can turn his career around. Moving on to Randal Kolo Muani, who joined PSG from Eintracht Frankfurt for €95 million in 2023. Kolo Muani had an impressive 2022-23 season in Germany, scoring 23 goals and providing 17 assists. Frankfurt wasn't eager to sell, so PSG had to cough up a hefty fee to secure the player. However, Kolo Muani's first season at PSG didn't go as planned, as he netted only 6 goals in 26 games, leaving much to be desired. Despite winning the French league, his personal performances were underwhelming. Kolo Muani has vowed to prove his worth, and with the recent departure of Kylian Mbappe, he may have the chance to shine as PSG's primary striker. Another player who joined in the same season for the same fee but found success is Harry Kane. After more than a decade at Tottenham Hotspur, Kane grew frustrated with the lack of silverware and sought a move. Bayern Munich, who had just lost Robert Lewandowski, was in need of a striker and made the decision to bring in Kane for €95 million. In his first season at Bayern, Kane scored 44 goals and provided 12 assists in 45 matches, winning the European Golden Boot. However, despite his personal brilliance, Bayern Munich failed to win any trophies for the first time in 12 years. Kane's individual success was clear, and it seems only a matter of time before his trophy drought comes to an end. Now, let's talk about Gareth Bale, who had a very different experience after leaving Spurs. In 2013, Bale joined Real Madrid for €100 million, breaking the world transfer record set by Ronaldo 4 years prior. Bale had an immediate impact, helping Madrid win the Champions League in his first season and scoring in the final. Over his 8 years at the club, Bale played 258 games, scored 106 goals and registered 67 assists, while collecting for Champions League titles and scoring 2 memorable goals in finals. Unfortunately, his relationship with manager Zinedine Zidane soured towards the end of his time at Madrid, leading to a less-than-ideal exit. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Jude Bellingham, who moved to Real Madrid for €103 million in 2023. Bellingham, already one of the most exciting young talents in world football, was a standout performer for Borussia Dortmund. Real Madrid, keen on building their next generation of Galacticos, didn't hesitate to sign the 19-year-old. Bellingham's start in Madrid has been nothing short of phenomenal, winning La Liga Player of the Month in his first month at the club and scoring 23 goals throughout the season, an impressive feat for a midfielder. He helped Real Madrid win both La Liga and the Champions League, and was named La Liga Player of the Year in his debut season. At such a young age, Bellingham could go on to become one of the best bargains on this list. Lastly, we come to Paul Pogba, whose €105 million return to Manchester United in 2016 marked the beginning of a tumultuous period in his career. Pogba, once a youth player at United, had left the club on a free transfer to Juventus, where he established himself as one of the best midfielders in the world. However, upon his return to Manchester, Pogba struggled with inconsistency, often delivering brilliant performances for a few months, only to fade away for long stretches. In December 2023, his time at the club ended on a sour note, with Pogba being initially banned from football for 4 years. But the ban was reduced to 18 months on October 2024. It's safe to say that United didn't get their money's worth with this transfer. During his time at Manchester United, Pogba had one shining achievement, winning the World Cup with France, where he played a pivotal role in the team. He consistently performed well for the national team, even when his club form faltered. After 5 years at United, Pogba ran down his contract and returned to Juventus on a free transfer. Unfortunately, his second stint at Juve was far from successful, as he was recently caught doping, leading to a 4-year ban from professional football. It seems like Pogba's return to Juventus has proven the saying, "You should never go back to your ex," and Romelu Lukaku can certainly relate to that. Lukaku's return to Chelsea for €113 million in 2021 was a move filled with anticipation, but it quickly turned sour. After scoring 64 goals in 2 seasons at Inter Milan, Lukaku had established himself as one of Europe's top strikers. Chelsea, eager to bring him back to the Premier League, made him their marquee signing, hoping he would deliver the goods. However, things didn't go as planned. Lukaku had already spent time at Chelsea in his early career, from ages 18 to 21, where he failed to secure playing time and was loaned out repeatedly. After impressing at Everton and earning a move to Manchester United, Lukaku's time in England remained inconsistent, and his return to Chelsea came with risks. Unfortunately, Lukaku couldn't replicate his Inter Milan form, managing just 8 Premier League goals before being sent out on loan to Roma, a move that marked a costly failure for Chelsea. But Lukaku's transfer wasn't the only time Chelsea spent heavily for minimal returns. The club made headlines again when they signed Moises Caicedo from Brighton for €116 million at the start of the 2023-24 season. Chelsea, under the ownership of Todd Boehly, has been spending big, and Caicedo's signing was no exception, beating Liverpool in a bidding war for the Ecuadorian midfielder. While Caicedo was a dominant force in Brighton's midfield, leading the league in tackles and interceptions, he initially struggled to settle in at Chelsea, failing to deliver the composure and form he was known for. Despite a rocky start, Caicedo finished the season strongly, even scoring a spectacular goal from the halfway line. At just 22 years old, Caicedo still has time to prove his worth, though his Chelsea journey began on a disappointing note. Another defensive midfielder who commanded the same price tag that season was Declan Rice, who made a €116 million move to Arsenal. Unlike Caicedo, Rice immediately justified his price. After making his Premier League debut at just 18 years old for West Ham, Rice developed into the team's best player over the next 6 years, even lifting European silverware. His consistent performances for both club and country made him a key target for Arsenal as they looked to bolster their midfield and challenge for the Premier League title. Rice adapted quickly, not only dominating defensively, but also contributing offensively, with 7 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League. His presence in the midfield played a crucial role in Arsenal's near-title-winning campaign, proving he was worth every penny of his hefty price tag. But not every expensive signing works out. Cristiano Ronaldo makes his second appearance on this list due to his €117 million transfer from Real Madrid to Juventus in 2018. Ronaldo was brought in to push Juventus to Champions League glory, but despite his individual brilliance, the club fell short of European success. Ronaldo, however, continued to perform at a high level, winning 2 Serie A titles, a Coppa Italia, and finishing as Serie A Footballer of the Year twice. In just 3 seasons, he scored 101 goals in 134 games and delivered some unforgettable moments, such as his iconic hat-trick comeback against Atletico Madrid. Even as he aged, Ronaldo remained one of the best players in Europe until he made a return to Manchester United in 2021. Speaking of Manchester, the blue side of the city made waves in the summer of 2021 when they signed Jack Grealish from Aston Villa for €117 million. Grealish had become Aston Villa's star player, dazzling defenders with his dribbling skills and creativity. Despite the high transfer fee, inflated by what many called an English tax, Grealish enjoyed success at Manchester City, winning 3 consecutive Premier League titles and playing a key role in the team's treble-winning season. However, by his 3rd season, Grealish's form had dipped, and he found himself out of the starting lineup, losing his place to the likes of Jeremy Doku and Phil Foden. At 28, Grealish should be in the prime of his career, but whether he can regain his top form remains uncertain. Antoine Griezmann, another player with a massive transfer fee, experienced a similar downturn after his €120 million move from Atletico Madrid to Barcelona in 2019. Griezmann had been one of Europe's top forwards for several years, consistently scoring and delivering in big matches. However, his move to Barcelona proved to be ill-fated, as he struggled to fit into a team already dominated by Lionel Messi. Despite winning a Copa del Rey, Griezmann's time at Barcelona was underwhelming, with his goal-scoring output dropping. Eventually, Barcelona loaned him back to Atletico and later sold him at a massive loss. Ironically, Griezmann has since returned to form, once again becoming one of the top players in La Liga. Eden Hazard, on the other hand, saw his career nosedive after his €120 million transfer from Chelsea to Real Madrid. Hazard was a Premier League sensation, known for his incredible dribbling and ability to unlock defenses. However, after moving to Madrid, his form collapsed. Arriving overweight and battling recurring ankle injuries, Hazard never reached the heights he had at Chelsea. In 4 years, he made just 76 appearances, scoring 7 goals and recording 12 assists, far below the expectations that came with his transfer fee. In 2023, Hazard announced his early retirement from football, marking one of the most disappointing big-money transfers in football history. Meanwhile, Enzo Fernandez still has a chance to justify his €121 million price tag after Chelsea signed him in January 2023. Fernandez had only joined Benfica 6 months earlier for €44 million, but his stellar performances at the 2022 World Cup, where he won the Young Player of the Tournament award and helped Argentina lift the trophy, skyrocketed his value. Chelsea definitely paid a World Cup hype tax on Enzo Fernandez when they signed him just weeks after his standout performance in the tournament. Despite showing early promise, both Enzo and Chelsea have struggled with consistency. In his 2nd season, he played through a groin injury before eventually requiring surgery, which cut his season short. However, at just 22 years old, he still has plenty of time to turn things around, especially if Chelsea, as a team, can find some form as well. Now, let's move on to the 5 most expensive football players of all time. On July 3, 2019, João Felix became the 5th most expensive footballer ever, with Atletico Madrid spending €127 million to sign him as Antoine Griezmann's replacement. At just 19 years old, and with only 1 full season of senior football at Benfica under his belt, Felix had already made a name for himself as one of the world's most exciting young talents, even winning the Golden Boy award over the likes of Haaland, Sancho, and Foden. His playing style, reminiscent of the legendary Eusebio, made him a breath of fresh air in Portuguese football, but things didn't quite click in Madrid. During his first season, Felix's relationship with coach Diego Simeone reportedly became strained, with Simeone publicly questioning his commitment. Felix's creative, expressive style of play clashed with Atletico Madrid's more rigid, defensive system. Over 4 seasons, Felix struggled with injuries, illness, and inconsistent form, managing just 34 goals and 18 assists in 131 appearances, a far cry from his output at Benfica, where he recorded 20 goals and 11 assists in just 33 games. After loan spells at Chelsea and Barcelona, Felix was sold permanently to Chelsea for €50 million. At 24, Felix now has a chance to reboot his career and fulfill the promise that once made him one of football's brightest stars. A similar tale can be told about Ousmane Dembele, who joined Barcelona for €135 million in 2017 after just one outstanding season at Borussia Dortmund. At 20 years old, Dembele had been named Bundesliga Young Player of the Season, tallying 10 goals and 26 assists. With both-footed dribbling and lightning speed, Barcelona viewed him as the perfect replacement for Neymar. However, disciplinary issues and a poor work ethic plague his time at the club, with reports emerging of him staying up late playing video games and arriving late to training. To add to his problems, Dembele was frequently injured, suffering 15 separate injuries during his 6 years at the club, which limited his average appearances to just 22 games per season. Despite these setbacks, Dembele showed glimpses of his potential toward the end of his Barcelona tenure, particularly under coach Xavi, where he formed a promising partnership with Robert Lewandowski. Nevertheless, Barcelona decided to sell him to PSG for €50 million, recouping some of their initial investment. While his stint at Barcelona had moments of brilliance, injuries and off-field issues meant that Dembele never fully lived up to his price tag. Next, we have Philippe Coutinho, Barcelona's third and most expensive transfer disaster. After selling Neymar in 2017, Barcelona were on a spending spree, and Liverpool benefited when they sold Coutinho for €160 million. Coutinho had been Liverpool's star player, winning their Player of the Year award from 2014 to 2016, and at 25 years old, he sought a move to win major trophies. Ironically, after he left, Liverpool won both the Champions League and Premier League within 2 seasons. At Barcelona, Coutinho failed to replicate his form from the Premier League. Just 18 months after his arrival, he was sent on loan to Bayern Munich, where he won the Champions League, ironically knocking out Barcelona with an 8-2 win, in which he scored twice. Despite this brief success, Coutinho returned to Barcelona, where his struggles continued until he was eventually loaned out and sold to Aston Villa. After a brief resurgence, Coutinho's form dropped again, and he eventually moved to Qatar before returning to play in Brazil. Although he left Barcelona with a full trophy cabinet, he failed to leave a lasting legacy or justify his transfer fee. Moving up to second on this list, Kylian Mbappe became the second most expensive footballer ever when PSG spent €180 million to sign him at just 19 years old. Despite the enormous price tag, Mbappe quickly proved his worth, consistently ranking as one of the best players in the world during his time in Paris. What's remarkable is that Mbappe commanded such a fee after only one full season of professional football. During that 2016-17 season with Monaco, Mbappe helped the team win Ligue 1 and reach the Champions League semi-finals, scoring 28 goals and providing 14 assists along the way. His incredible performances earned him the Golden Boy Award, and PSG saw him as the future of French football. Over the next 7 seasons, Mbappe dominated French football, winning 6 Ligue 1 titles, for Coupe de France trophies, and finishing as Ligue 1's top scorer 6 times. He was also named Ligue 1 Player of the Year 5 times. The only trophy that eluded him was the Champions League, which he came close to winning in 2020 when PSG lost in the final. Mbappe eventually ran down his contract and left PSG on a free transfer to Real Madrid, but not before becoming the club's all-time top scorer. Now, he looks to continue his dominance in Spanish football. However, Mbappe's rise to stardom in Paris wasn't part of PSG's original plan. The club had signed Neymar that same season for a world record fee of €220 million, intending for him to be their main star. Neymar's transfer from Barcelona to PSG in 2017 quite literally broke the transfer market, as it reshaped the way football transfers were valued. Since his move, 16 of the 20 most expensive transfers in history have taken place, with prices routinely exceeding €100 million. PSG signed Neymar, hoping he would become the best player in the world, but despite his undeniable talent, Neymar never quite lived up to those expectations. Injuries plague his time in Paris, limiting him to just 22 appearances in his best season. Despite his injury struggles, Neymar still managed 118 goals and 77 assists in 173 appearances, averaging over a goal contribution per game. For any other player, these stats would be considered world-class, but for Neymar, who's brought in to win Ballon d'Ors and lead PSG to Champions League glory, his 6 years in Paris fell short of those lofty goals. He remains one of the greatest players of his generation, but his career in Paris may always be remembered as one of unfulfilled potential. As we've seen, the world of football transfers is full of ups and downs. Some players, like Cristiano Ronaldo and Kylian Mbappe, exceeded expectations and cemented their legacy as all-time greats. Others, however, like Philippe Coutinho and Eden Hazard, struggled to justify their price tags and left fans wondering what could have been. No matter how these players' journeys unfold, one thing is clear. The world of football transfers will continue to captivate us with its stories of triumph and disappointment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more football insights. Let us know in the comments which transfer shocked you the most.